Hey everybody, this is Jim from Discovery Divers to Tokyo coming at you from the workshop. Today's topic, rigging up a backplate and a wing, especially the backplate, especially the harness. And I'm going to break this into part one and part two. Part one is kind of pre-rigging, so getting it to a basic set of readiness. Part two is usually when I'll fit it kind of exactly to the customer diver, preferably wearing a wetsuit, but that's usually or often not possible. So I'll do a rough fit part one, and then part two is the exact fit. Hopefully we'll be filming that tomorrow. When someone orders a kit, a backplate and wing kit on their own, right, from the States or from wherever, very often they're kind of shocked of how it comes, because they're envisioning, you know, a BC, right? Something's together and, you know, you put it on. But when you, very often, when you order a backplate and wing harness, you're just getting pieces, right? For example, let me show you what you get. In this case, right, this diver wanted, well, first you're going to get the webbing, right? About 15 foot of 2-inch nylon webbing. And in this case, the diver opted for some pretty cool red webbing, right? So this is going to be kind of nice. So you get the 15-foot webbing. You get the crotch strap. This is a very, very fancy crotch strap, right? Again, from Hog. First of all, usually I make this myself, but this one is pre-sewn with the D-ring in there. Very, very nice. And in the bottom, it's got a neoprene strap for where it goes under the crotch to keep it from wearing or being worn by your exposure protection. I've never had that before. That's pretty nice. And then you've got, in this case, it came with some neoprene straps for the shoulders. I don't know if this diver is going to want that. I'll put them in. If she doesn't want them, she can cut them out. You're going to get all of your D-rings, right? You're going to get these keepers, these stays. What else? I usually throw on some pockets, right? The pockets I prefer are excess Scuba. These are really nice because they're releasable weight. Anyway, this handle just makes it nicer to take the weight out anyway, right? The old design's a little bit tougher to get the weight out. What else? Really nice. Check this out. Look at that plate. Is that beautiful or what? Right? So an anodized aluminum plate. You see the Hog here, although it's probably switched for you. Super light for travel. That is a super sweet plate. It's going to look really nice with that red webbing. All right. What else? Over here we've got the wing. All right, and this diver, kind of going with the travel flow, is a 23-pound, nice small wing. And you see it has here, it has the rods in there that help if you go without an STA, without a single tank adapter. This holds the tank a little more steady. And that's exactly what this diver's doing, right? She's going to go without an STA, which makes sense for a travel rig. And then last, right, these are the tank bands, right? So the tank bands are going to hold without the STA. So very often, you know, a diver is shocked. They order online, you know, some backplate and wing harness set themselves, and then they call me, hey, you know, what happened? Can you put this thing together for me? I'm like, well, if you would have bought it for me, I would have custom fit it to you. But, you know, if you ordered off the internet, you've got a little bit of work ahead of you, right? Okay, tools. Not much needed, right? I get a pair of scissors here. And I like to use a lighter, a nice, oh my gosh, look at, you can kind of see through. It's the wrong color. Let me put it this way. Right, one of these lighters, it's a torch lighter, and that makes cutting the webbing, if you seal it before and after, it's a little nicer. Some people use a hot knife. Your mileage may vary. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to web the red webbing, in this case, right, into the shoulder holes, and then get it even, right, that huge long 15-foot of webbing, I'm going to put it through here and get it even. That's going to be my first step. So let me pause while I do that. So I've got the initial webbing in, right? So that's how I do it. Get it in the front. And this one has kind of a plus and a minus point here, right? So it's got a grommet, and that's going to line up with that hole for you. Okay, so that seems kind of nice. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the grommet, and I'll tell you why. The grommet adds a little bit of space, maybe a few millimeters, even a 3 or 4. And if you use an STA, you will feel that 3 or 4 millimeters possibly, right? The STA can't get as close to the plate, and it might be a little more sensitive to wiggle because of that. Usually what I do is I have a special screwdriver at home. It's all terrible and plasticky, and I heat it up on the stove, and I poke it through there and make a nice clean hole. But then it's just the webbing's width, and it's a little bit tighter, so that's what I do. Anyway, next what I'm going to do, I'm going to try these sleeves onto here. Let's see how that works out. Okay, as expected, putting these sleeves on was a major pain in the ass. And here's what it looks like in the back, right? And now next, I'm going to loop this up through the front, and then this sleeve should totally be going through these 2 slots. I've also seen people use inner tube, right? 2-inch inner tube for that. So this is kind of slick. All right, let's see how the next step goes. I did manage to get that through there. It looks nice from this angle, right? And from the back we've got that. So next I'm gonna flop these over, kind of like bunny ears, I suppose. Right, and then this is what's gonna be like your backpack, kind of, right? These are the shoulder straps. One thing I'm gonna show you, that one reason why I'm not totally thrilled about these grommets, the pre-installed grommets, right? So as you can see from the back there, it's not actually lined up with the hole, right? So the hole is a little bit up. Now you will be able to do that, right? But it's going to take some effort, right? The hole is kind of totally blocked. So what I prefer, that's why I prefer burning it, right? Because when these come, it comes with the grommet exactly in the middle of the webbing. And it's, in my experience, it's kind of rare that hole is exactly going to line up. So better just to make a custom hole. And this area back here is not a stress point, so it's not in any danger of ripping or tearing or something, right? Here are where the stress points are, right? Okay. All right. So next, I'm going to bring it down to the waist area, right? And first, we need to put some pieces on here. Let me get that set up. So as I mentioned earlier, this rig is kind of fancy, but let's have a look. Usually, up in this area on the left-hand side where you're going to have your inflator hose, I will use these rubber straps for holding hoses and tubes and whatnot. This kit came with some neoprene sleeves for that. I'm not sure I'm going to be a fan of that. I don't know. Let me see how that works out. And also up there, right, this diver has some shoulder pads. I also don't know how I feel about that. I'll install them. She wants to cut them off. It won't be very difficult. Also, there's a little rubber band that goes over there. And then we put more of these straps, right, in the underarm region, right, farther down, in case a diver wants to install some backup lights, right? The flashlights actually fit really well underneath your arms. I used to do that in the early days, not so much anymore. Okay. All right, let's see how that goes. I managed to get these neoprene sleeves slid over the 2-inch webbing. I will say it wasn't pleasant. Now I know why I haven't done this in a long time. I don't think I'll do it for a long time in the future. It does look cool. Let's put on the rest and see what it looks like. Okay, so up top, right, I've got one of those rubber band holders. I also put on one of the neoprene sleeves just to see what it's like. I gotta say, it fits quite nicely and it looks kind of good. I'll have both of them there, and this diver can try them both and see how they like them. All right. Okay. Next, it's time to put on my my shoulder level D-rings. Let's have a look. Okay, I've run into my first kind of complication here. So these D-rings, right, and on the shoulder they're actually bent D-rings, are held in place by a keeper, right? Usually on the shoulders I'll use a serrated keeper, right, with that jagged edge. Another alternative, if you don't have one, is the straight, smooth keeper. Now, neither one of these keepers will go over the neoprene. So what has to happen is wherever, however much band this diver is going to use there, we're going to have to cut this back so that it will not interfere with the keeper. So I won't be able to see this until I actually meet this diver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the keeper and the D-rings temporarily in this lower position, and then when I meet the diver, I guess we could, cut it back to where it needs to be exactly, and then, that'll be a nice situation. Anyway, that's a shogunai, but let's have a look at that. I'm having a look at this. If this rig were for me, right? So let me see. All right, I'm gonna want the plate right about up there somewhere. If this rig were for me, these straps, these neoprene straps would be just about perfect actually, because the ring would be here. That's a little bit low for me, but acceptable. Probably for this diver, it's a she, right? So she's kind of small, I'm sure, smaller than me. So probably it's going to need to be trimmed up to about here. And I see already a complication with trimming. So this neoprene sleeve on the inside, if you can see it right there, it has kind of a seal that's sealing the seam. So any place that this is going to be cut is going to, I guess, have the danger that neoprene is going to unravel. So it's a nice thing. I don't know that this is going to live through the process. I guess we're going to have to wait to see till tomorrow. Okay, on these neoprene sleeves, I made an executive decision, and I decided to trim those with one of my special tools. What I will do is I have some seam sealer here, and I'll throw that on a dab on those sewn seams. A big dab. It'll give me a similar effect to here and keep it from unraveling. And I'll put that on the inside edge. All right. Okay, let's see if that does any better. Okay, let's do a little check-in. So I've got the shoulder D-rings installed, and those are bent D-rings, right? So they slightly go away from your body to hook them. I've got the shorter pads on here. That looks like it's going to hang pretty nicely for this diver. And we've got these in place. I'm going to leave them in a rough position that I think is going to be roughly good for someone the size that I saw on their picture. And over here we've got a tied bungee ring. Some people use an O-ring. This is going to be to have the inflator hose, right? To have it on somewhat of a stretchy, so when you're using it, it'll stretch up, let you vent in the upward position, right? So upper is finished, and now I'm going to work on the belt region. Okay. Now I've webbed the webbing through these bottom holes here, and one thing to keep in mind here, right, is this webbing should be, all right, it's going to need a twist down here, right? The twist should be away from your torso, so that you do not have the blade of this webbing on your body. Ironically, the first backplate and wing that I was ever sent was partially assembled, and this was backwards. And I wondered why when I put it on the first couple times, the thing was digging into me under here. It's because this was through the hole in the wrong way. And by the way, it gets webbed through the inside hole closest to the center and then out through the outside. And other notable fact is on these sliders, all right, I tend to use the smooth ones because this is something I'm going to, which would potentially be adjusted more than this. And this is actually in greater danger of sliding on its own. So for that one, I will use, for the upper ones, I will use the serrated keepers. All right. Okay. Okay. Next, I'm going to put on the pockets and then show you how I keep the pockets in place. Let's move on. All right. So on this side, I've got my pocket. All right. So here's the plate, and your view is reversed from mine, right? So this is my left side. I think on the movie it's going to show right side. right? I threaded the webbing through this excess pocket. By the way, it's really tight fit these days. It's kind of nice. In the older days, it was looser, and that caused problems because I'm going to keep this on the left side in place with another serrated slider, and this time an unbent ring, right? And this left side is kind of critical. So for small men and small women with a thin waist, this is the side that's kind of tough. If I want to have this pocket, sometimes it makes the waist strap too big for really, really thin people. So hopefully this diver won't be thinner than this. But I can slide the pocket all the way to the plate and then slide this ring all the way over. And if he or she is thinner than that, then you've got trouble, right? Then either you want this to be in a less than optimal place, or you're going to have to lose your weight pocket, which would be a real shame, right? On this side, okay, I've got the pocket threaded through also, and I've got it held in place with a plastic keeper. That's usually what I use on this side, because the plastic keeper has some spikes on the top, and this will not move. It will not move. It's in place. Again, though, I run into the same issue over here, right? This person, if they're exceedingly thin, I'm going to run out of space over there. So hopefully this diver isn't. Tech guys and DIR guys, right? Very often, this is where they're going to keep their canister light. And on this side, they'll use a buckle to hold it in place. So if you're a tech guy, if you have a canister light, different story, right? There are plenty of videos. It's not such a big deal over here to change. All right. Okay. Next, I'm going to toss on the buckle just loosely, and then I'm going to attach the crotch strap, and then we're almost finished with part one. And before I put it on, a note about the buckle. Have a look at this one. You can see the holes, right? Let me use a pointer. So that top hole is nice. I can't even point at that top hole is nice and thick. It's double thick, and then you have thin. Well, this one's double thick because your webbing is going to go through there twice. Some of the cheaper buckles, it's not double thick. It is really difficult to get through there twice. So that's a nice feature. Another nice feature is this webbing catcher here. Yeah, not all of them have that, and sometimes I could make it, when you're wet, heavy, tired, I make it tough to get the webbing in there. So that's a nice buckle. Let's put it on. Okay, so I just threw the buckle on there, right? I'm not going to do any adjusting at all now because the diver's not here. So on that, this is pretty much the rough rig except for the crotch strap. I'm going to leave it just like that and do the rough fit tomorrow. Let's get the crotch strap on there. Okay, now the crotch strap is a little bit tricky to visualize, right? So this is the front. That's going to come up to the front of the diver, and this is going to be to the back of the diver, right? So first, I'm going to put a keeper in, and it's going to be one of these, right? The serrated keepers, and then this is going to loop through the plate, right? Through the plate, and then it's going to come back down here. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to put a straight D-ring on this keeper, right, before I put it on the plate. Okay, so I've got it like that. It's going to come up through the plate, and then I have to thread this through there again. That's a bit of a hassle, actually. So I'm going to do that now. Now, just to ask, this isn't the topic of this video, but so the rear D-ring is to hold equipment. So a lot of people leave this D-ring off because they're not going to have a reel or a spool or a spare deco tank. I don't know back there. Kind of the same thing for the front ring, right? A lot of recreational divers leave that off as well. This could also be for temporary holding of a reel, a camera, a piece of equipment. It was originally intentioned to hold a scooter, right? That's where the scooter cord would attach to you. So the scooter is pulling you from your center of gravity, and you're just using your hand to steer and on the trigger, the speed, right? I will put the rings on this one for this diver, just because I don't know whether they want it or not, and it doesn't hurt anything if it's there. So let's put that on. Okay, let's check in. Have a look here. That was a lot of work, actually. I'm kind of sweating. All right. So this is about the position that you want that ring, right? What you're looking for position-wise is The tank is going to come down. Aluminum 80 is going to be the longest tank that most people use. Here in Japan, we use shorter tanks generally, 10-liter steel, right? You don't want the tank to be on top of this ring, otherwise it's useless, right? And then the overall length of this, I don't know because I haven't met the diver. My guess is it's going to be shorter than this, and probably I'm going to have to cut this tubing like I did with the shoulder tubes. I'll deal with that tomorrow because I haven't met the diver. This extra tubing, in this case, I will probably shove it down inside of the this sleeve here, right? Another note, because this was special colored crotch strap, it's thicker than normal crotch strap, right? Normally that would cause a problem because it would be hard underneath your legs, right? That would be uncomfortable. This one has the sleeve. Hopefully that's going to do the trick. But however, it does make it a little bit tough going through this double loop. And I like having a double loop around the D-ring for security and durability. But we'll see how that goes. By the way, you can soften this up. Apparently, I've read, I've never tried it, with fabric softener of some kind. I don't know. Maybe you could read up on Scuba board or one of the other boards about that. All right. Okay, I've got my rough fit. I'm pretty happy with it. It went a little bit slower than usual. It had some new components. Usually I do this totally from scratch. But tomorrow, let's do the rough fit. We'll put on the wing, we'll put on the straps, and we'll see what we've got. All right? That's the end of part one. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully that helps you out if you're rigging your own harness. Tune in next time. Thank you. Okay, thanks for watching. All right, well, if you like this kind of thing and you think you'd like to see more, I think there's a subscribe button right around here somewhere. And if you are coming to Japan and you'd like to hook up with us and dive, I think right around here there's a spot where you can click, come and have a look at the webpage and see what kind of events are going on. All right, thanks a lot. See you on the beach. Bye.